walking with my mind, stayed on spirit. I'm walking and talking with my mind, stayed on spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm brushing my teeth with my mind, stayed on spirit. Yeah, I'm eating my bagel with my mind, stayed on spirit. Oh, I'm walking my dog with my mind, stayed on spirit. Yeah, hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
And that beautiful voice is the voice of Reverend Rich Volk, who is double billing today. He's not only our musical inspiration, he is our guest speaker, and you will hear more about him in a minute. Let's take a moment now and acknowledge that Spirit is here, as he has invoked, and come into the practice and the knowing of spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer. So I invite you to just go within and take a breath. And I feel right now, right here, centered in spirit. My mind is on spirit, my heart is on spirit, and I live, move, and dwell and have my being in spirit. For there is truly only this one life, this one universal consciousness that is God, that is the divine mind, the divine intelligence that governs, operates through all it is. And I know myself as a place in that mind of God. I know that God particularizes itself in me as it does in each one here this morning, knowing that we come together in a consciousness of faith, of welcoming, of celebration, and knowing that the highest and best is already in operation, has been set forth already, predetermined in the mind of God for our beautiful Sunday celebration. I know that this is the truth. I know that everyone here receives exactly what they're meant to receive, and I know that it is all good, all God, and all now. And with profound gratitude, I release this word into universal law that only says yes. I let go, I let God, and I truly know, truly, it is already now done. And so it is.
So it is.
Amen. Welcome. What a beautiful showing today, knowing that we are seen even in the virtual world. So, as we begin, I would like to let you know that our theme for the year, our topic for the year is Rising Higher, Going Deeper. Our topic for this month of November is Loving the Unlovable, and Reverend Rich's talk is Finding Your Inner Compass. So I invite you now to just know that with us, that we are a living, breathing experience of divine truth here at our center. I know that we come together as a vibrant community where love, joy, and inclusivity are at the heart of every single thing that we do. Here we honor the unique journey of every soul, offering a place of healing, growth, and celebration. And I know that together we create an atmosphere of openness and love where every person is seen, valued, appreciated every time you're here, always. And I'd like to just insert a little bit of my reading into our beginning, because if you've noticed, the world is a little bumpy out there. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of contention, etc. And yet I see us as a community center as one where we come together and we know the truth. We know the truth about each other. And we know the truth about life. So when a complex system is far from equilibrium, small islands of coherence in a sea of chaos have the capacity to shift entire system into a higher order. And that's what I believe we do here every time we come together. On a Sunday, in all of the activities we do, and there are a lot, and you will hear about those. So I am Gail Belluardo. I'm a licensed practitioner here at the center. It's my joy, my honor, and my happiness to be here, to be present with each person here this morning. Thank you for joining us, whether you're here in person or you're viewing us online, or if you view us at some later point. Thank you for joining us. We are so happy that you're part of this journey to share wisdom, light, and transformation. And I know that since I've been here, there's been a lot of transformation happening within me and within so many other people. So if this is your first time with us, we welcome you and invite you to get a welcome packet, and our welcoming person is Eileen Gans this morning, so she will help you with that. And complete a new visitor form so we can include you in our future mailings and events, so you know what's going on here, and it's a lot of great stuff. You can also visit us at our website, which is cslmorristown.org. And here we are joined with Reverend Rich Gold, who hails to us from Princeton. Yes, he hails to us from Princeton. He is a musical director. Hail there. And he supports that ministry very, very well, and we're very blessed to have him here. And I'm honored that he's accompanying me today. And he started his journey many, many years ago in CSL Morristown. So he's one of our own, and he keeps coming back.
Can't get rid of me.
No, you know what? I'm new at this, I'm renewed at this, because I haven't done this in a while, so thank you for bearing with me and my challenges. But I want to say that it is time now for our Namaste practice. And Namaste is the Sanskrit word that means the divine in me recognizes, honors, and blesses the divine in you. So you don't have to say all those words, but we know that it is included in this actual affirmation that we're making. So I invite you to close your eyes and become centered. And breathe into that space and that place within you. That is the divine spark of life, of God within you. And it is there all the time, and we are now consciously tuned into it. So recognizing that within you, you know that you can recognize it in others. So I invite you to open your eyes, and again, Namaste means the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity with you. So share that with your neighbors. Namaste.
Namaste.
We are Namaste up. Okay. Excuse me, I'm getting something. So, Reverend Rich's talk is finding your inner compass. Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's correct. So our meditation is navigating the ocean of life. So I invite you to just get comfortable where you're sitting, relax. If you feel comfortable, put your hands in your lap. You can place them on your heart, wherever they feel comfortable. And just close your eyes and go ahead. And notice as you are sitting there that there is a chair which is supporting you, which is holding you and grounding you right where you are. And I invite you now to tune into the actual rhythm of your breath. The gentle flow, the in-breath and the out-breath. And notice as you focus on the breath, it becomes easier and more effortless to go within. And breathing in, now breathe into your solar plexus by your tummy, the center of your body. Easy, effortless breath. And notice yourself becoming centered right where you are. Centered in body, mind, and spirit. So today you have decided that you are going on a voyage. Headed towards something or somewhere that you wish to be. You feel yourself ready, and you begin looking forward to the journey. As you know that everything has been prepared for your perfect arrival. And so you embark on a ship that has been designed just for you, with everything that's needed for your safe and enjoyable journey. The ship is equipped with strong sails that you manage with ease. And as you feel ready for your adventure, you set off with positive expectations. Noticing how you flow easily on the water. And in the beginning, the waves around you are calm and serene. But after a while, the water becomes rougher. The wind has picked up. And you notice the ship is more challenging to steer. As this happens, you become worried and concerned, and a feeling of uncertainty has crept in. It takes more of your attention and effort to navigate the boat in the direction in which you're going. Your inner calm is disturbed, and you're concerned that you're getting off track. It's difficult to keep your boat heading in the right direction. Suddenly, your inner calm feels as rough to hold onto as the waves and the wind outside take you off center. Emotions such as fear, doubt, worry, and frustration arise within you, and you're not sure you will arrive at your desired destination. And as you get bumped around by the waves for a bit, all of a sudden you remember your breath. And you remember that you can use your breath to bring inner calm. And as you bring your attention to your breath, you start to feel calmer. You start to feel more centered again within yourself, no matter what's going on around you. And that place and that space of calm takes hold and becomes your complete experience. As you take a few more calm and centering breaths, you begin to release all the tension through your exhalation. And as you calm your inner life, you regain control of your ship and you begin to navigate to calm waters. And so your inner and your outer experience are one and the same. Calm and centeredness. And I invite you to take just a couple more deep breaths, releasing everything, and coming home to your center. And when you feel ready, I invite you to open your your eyes, your arms, and embrace this moment together.
There's a silence in the morning when the stars still linger low, and I sit there with my longing for a truth I've yet to know. Not a whisper, not a thunder, but a stillness drawing near, where the heart begins to wander and the soul begins to clear. I'm diving deep where the current runs slow, where the dreamer meets the doer and the river starts to flow. In the chamber of my heart, where the seeds of wonder grow, I'm diving deep into the old So I'll rise with my devotion to the work and to the flame that winds of pure emotion, carving truth I will not name, but the flow is ever guided like a river knows its sea. The art is in the finding of the love that flows in me. I'm diving deep and where the voices are all still, where the quiet paints a vision and the pulse becomes the will. In the garden of the mind, love is shaping every hill. I'm diving deep and the world begins to fill. I'm diving deep where the voices are all still, where the quiet paints a vision and the pulse becomes a will. In the garden of the mind, love is shaping every hill. I'm diving deep and the world begins to fill. I'm diving deep and the world begins to fill. I'm going to tell you something. Listening to Gail's meditation, I almost took my talk and tore it up. Because she covered the tangled webs we weave. She covered everything that I was about to say. So my name is Rich Volk, and I am the music minister at Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. I also have the honor of being the life partner of your Reverend Janice Polera, the love of my life. And that's right. Yeah. She's amazing, right?
Yeah.
And what an act to follow as a speaker.
Yeah.
And you have Lori. And you have Reverend Karen come here and all these great speakers. So I haven't spoken in a while. And great audience. So here I am. So I was looking at the your monthly theme, loving the unlikable.
Yes.
And there's a lot around. Isn't there these days that we have a hard time liking? And maybe even a little hate can come into it. So how do we deal with the unlikable? How do we deal with the thing that comes along, the unexpected diagnosis, the unexpected bill, the transmission that gave up the ghost when you thought it was going to go for a while longer? The message from your boss that says, yeah, I'd really like to see you now. So what do we do with that stuff, you know? And like Gail said, if we don't have this teaching, if we don't have the tools that I learned almost 23 years ago, I started to take classes here at the Center for Spiritual Living, Morristown, in its former location. If we don't have those tools, then we let the law of averages take over and kick us around and take us where it will. We might get something good, we might get something not so good. And also, my experience is that if I'm not in that space of connection, then what's going to come to me is I'm not going to be in a good state. I happen to be a nervous person. I happen to be a person that has been diagnosed with anxiety disorder. So when these things come along, I tend to go, "Ow," and I go in a room somewhere and turn the light off and hide my head. I want to run. And what I've learned here, you know, we used to say, stop, drop, and treat. Everybody knows what treatment is, right?
Yeah.
That's our word, our term for affirmative prayer. It's the one thing that sets us aside from most of the other New Thought religions. We have this incredible technology, this repeatable technology, where we can find that place in us, that center. And I'm going to talk about that later, finding that center. Although Gail has already covered it. Thank you very much.
It needs more covering.
It's going to be covered.
Some people came in late and they didn't hear it.
You know, so the finding your own compass thing. I have a son. He's 38. He lives in Denver. I haven't seen him, prior to October, I hadn't seen him in 3 years. He got engaged in that time. He bought a house. A lot of things changed in his life. I had no idea what his life was like. And I don't like flying. It's not the flying. I love flying. I love being up there. It's amazing. You can be 35,000 feet in the air going 600 miles an hour in a chair. The richest person in the world 100 years ago couldn't have done that. Couldn't have bought that. For $500, I had it. I also had a seat that was this big, and I had a guy in back of me that was 6'6", and his knees were in my back. But I decided to go against all of my impulses, which said, don't go. I didn't have a passport. I didn't have that silly the license you have to have. But I decided I'm going to go through all these unlikable things that I had. And I did it with support from Janice, Reverend Janice, and with a lot of treatment and a lot of, I don't want to do this, I'm going to do it. I went and got my passport renewed and got a passport card, which is a really cool little thing to get if you don't have one. And made my plane reservations, paid the money, and packed up my bags, got on a plane to Denver. And it was a great flight, other than the guy with the 6'6" knees in back of me. It was a great flight. I got to the Denver airport, which is an amazing place. It's worth going there just to see that crazy airport, right? Get on the train goes 1,000 miles an hour, and you're like, what's gonna happen if I miss my stop? But my son was actually talking me through the whole thing, throughout the whole experience. He picked me up, he drove me to his house. I met his fiancée, he's a wonderful woman. And he's got 2 dogs, 3 cats, a nice little house, and one of his jobs is he's a guide. He takes people for excursions into the Rocky Mountains. That's his job. So he said, come on, Dad, we're gonna go. So we jump in his car, and he took me to places that, I mean, just driving to the mountains was a spiritual experience. We were up at 12,000 feet. I got a little bit sick from the altitude, but you know what, it was worth it. It was incredible to see and feel that, and to see my son be so at ease with his life and so at ease with all of the information he had to give out. He could give out. He knew where the mountains, he knew this igneous rock, and this is volcanic rock, and this mountain wasn't here, and this mountain is older. And he told me way more than I needed to hear about the mountains, but I was so proud to hear it. I loved every minute of it. And I said to Janice on the phone that night, I said, you know, this is something on the bucket list I didn't know I had. I had thought, the Rocky Mountains, you fly over and you go, that's nice, right? Denver, that's okay. But I'll tell you, it was the most amazing thing to just climb and climb and climb into the snow, past the forest line, into the snow belt, and to see all that. So all of the unlikable stuff that I had accrued in my mind was instantly wiped away. And I had and I was also worried about what kind of time I was going to have with his fiancée and him and his whole life. And we had the most wonderful time. I had the most wonderful connection with him and Chandra, his fiancée, and his wonderful dogs. You wake up in the morning and you have a little dog on your chest licking your nose. And so the lesson there is, do it. Just do it, whatever it is. For me, this is my lesson, because I could easily not do it. Ask Janice. So my transition now is, it was a dark and stormy night. Right? It was a dark and stormy night. I found myself on a sailboat, all alone basically, with rough weather, with wind blowing, blinded by a certain kind of a light, and I was scared to death. So the way this started was that my brother-in-law at the time called me and asked me if I'd be interested in helping a friend of his move his 38-foot sailboat from Oyster Bay to Deer Isle, Maine. And sounded good to me. I said, sure, I called up the guy, the owner, and we had a conversation. He sounded like he knew what he was doing. He sounded like he was pretty settled with his boat. He had some experience. I had quite a bit of experience offshore. So we made a date. I said I'd meet him on the boat on a Sunday morning in June. And I got my stuff together. I got my foul weather gear and my boots and all that stuff. And my sailing knife. All my sort of stuff that I treasure for that kind of life. And I met him in Oyster Bay. I made my way out there. And I got onto the boat. It was a beautiful boat. Very well made, a great manufacturer. It was very well kept. I felt really good about the whole thing. And he showed up, the owner, and he brought a friend who had never really sailed before. So there's only two of us now really who were sailors. And not the best situation. I thought we needed at least 3, maybe 4 if we were gonna do an overnight sail. But we left, we went out, we left Oyster Bay, we went out into the Long Island Sound, we sailed down the Sound, we went through the Gut, Plum Gut. Anybody who knows how that works? No? It's the entrance from Long Island Sound, and it goes into Block Island Sound. And we sailed out to Block Island Sound, no issues, beautiful day sailing, into Buzzards Bay, and into the canal, into the Cape Cod Canal, which I never knew was there. Sailed through the canal, and we came out into the Gulf of Maine, and it was time for a decision. We had to decide whether we were going to sail straight through across the Gulf of Maine to Deer Isle, which was the most direct way to go, or could we leapfrog up the coast and that way, and that probably would have added a day or 2 to the trip. So the owner wanted to get there, so we decided to go that way. We had a weather report that said the front was coming through in the morning, that things were going to be fine, but we thought we could make it before the front came through, and we set out. The front came through early. And so it got dark, the sun went in, the waves picked up, the wind picked up. The passenger decided he didn't like this at all. I never saw him again until the next morning. He went below, and I don't know what he did down there. And I stayed up with the owner, and you stand watches. 2 hours, you stand at the wheel and steer, and at a certain point, it got really rough. The wind was building, seas were building. We really couldn't sail. We were motoring into the wind, and the owner all of a sudden said, "I really don't feel good." And he just disappeared. He went below. There's different kinds of seasickness. I don't get seasick, all right? That's the reason why people ask me to go sailing. I'm not a good sailor. I'm all right, but I don't get sick. And if you don't get sick, you're available, because somebody's got to steer the boat, right? So this guy has the kind of seasickness which, I guess it's extreme lethargy. He wasn't doing all the typical things you do when you're seasick, but he was knocked out. I at one point looked down in the cabin, and he was at the base of the they call them companionway stairs, and he was just crumpled up down there. I think I'm alone. I don't know this boat. It's not my boat. So I go back, and I'm at the helm, and I'm freaking. I mean, I'm starting to freak. There's a piece of navigation equipment in front of me, and the light was so bright in this thing, I couldn't see anything but that bright light. I couldn't see the compass. I couldn't see anything. I couldn't leave the wheel. There was no self-steering. And I'm motoring, and I don't know. Now I start thinking about the fuel situation, and what happens if I run out of fuel? Can I do this by myself? Can I refueling out in the ocean is really hard. It's really messy, and you really need more than one person to do it. So that's all going through my mind. All of this catastrophizing. I've been in worse conditions, but never alone like that. Never with no one to back me up. I couldn't leave the helm. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't get anything to eat or drink. I had to stay there. And I mean, when I tell you, I like to say I was in a tizzy. I went from a almost tizzy to a full-blown tizzy. And as I was standing there, all of a sudden I knew, as you said in your talk, I had to do something. Like I couldn't run. I couldn't leave. I couldn't go below and hide my head down there. Somebody got to steer the damn boat. So the other thing was happening was the boat was going all over the place. I don't know why, but I was having trouble keeping a steady course. So I started to treat. It's the only thing I could think of. I had just finished my first year class, and I was all fired up. In those days, they really taught you how to treat, how to do a treatment. So I stood there, and I found that place. You know, I did the recognition step. It's all around me, recognition. God is, look at this water, look at these waves, this wind, this magnificence. It's not hard to think that God is present in this situation. And then unification. Well, here I am. I'm water, it's water. We're just here. I'm here. Realization. I treated for me to calm down. I treated for me to find my center. As you said, to go deep inside of myself. And I also treated for this guy to get over his seasickness. Then I throw in, let's have some puffy blue clouds and some nice wind and calm waves. I threw that in too, because why not? And I'm not going to say I felt it instantly, but it gave me the place where I just settled in. And I started to move into feeling the boat, feeling the motion, feeling the wheel. I tuned into that boat. I tuned into the way it was moving through the water. And I got hold of it. Very small movements of the wheel to try to keep it on a steady path. The waves kick you around. It's pretty tough. The other thing with not being able to see is you can't see the waves coming at you. So you can't really adjust the steering to hit the waves right. Anyway, I stayed like that throughout the night, treating, picturing me and the boat sailing into the harbor in Deer Isle, blue skies, puffy clouds, fair winds, the whole thing. And I just stayed there all night. Every time I would catch out of the whitecaps, I would catch out of the corner of my eye. And I read that the founder of Unity, I always forget his name, he says that the ocean represents the universal mind. And it represents all of the errant thoughts that can be there, all that stuff. So those waves, for me, represented all those crazy thoughts that I had. When they would start to creep in, when the obsession would start to come in about, what am I going to do if I run out of fuel? What am I going to do? How am I going to set the sails if I have to sail? What am I going to do? What are these guys? What if this guy is really sick? You know, what's going on? Like, all those thoughts kept crashing in, and I would just stop it. Stop. And I would look and I would picture that scenario of those puffy clouds. And I stood there all night. I think it was about 6 hours I spent, maybe longer. I don't quite know sure when it started and when it stopped. But around, I would say around 6 o'clock in the morning, things started to change. The wind moderated a little bit, the seas moderated, it settled down. The head started popping up from the cabin, you know, and before you know it, we had nice blue sky, we had puffy clouds, we had a perfect wind, we set the sails, we were sailing rather than motoring, and the guy came up and he's like, oh, good, wow, like nothing happened. And the other guy came up and he said, oh, you know, I didn't expect it to be like that. He said, he pictured, you know, like the moon on the water and you're sailing along. And that's what he pictured the nighttime sail was going to be, not this crazy Gulf of Maine stuff, you know, where you're crashing around and the boat's crashing on the waves. But these guys came up and, you know, I ate something, we had coffee. And we just sailed our way to Deer Isle. And we entered the harbor. And there we were with puffy clouds, fair wind, blue skies. It was cold because it was Maine in June. And we tied up the boat and there I was. So, you know, the lesson for me is I've had worse trips. I made friends with a captain, a licensed captain, and I used to move boats with him. We went to Puerto Rico, we went to St. Thomas, we went up and down Florida, we went all over the place. And I've had worse. There's always something, because we were always moving the boat at the wrong time of the year. So the Atlantic in October and November is, you know, can be rugged. So I've had worse trips, for sure. I've had scarier trips. But never one where I was alone like that, where I didn't have anything but me to rely on. And it wasn't enough. At that initial point of that freak out, I wasn't enough by myself. And there's something inside. Ernest Holmes, I have one quote here. I swear I would have a quote. Ernest Holmes said, no matter what our emotional storm or what our objective situation may be, there is always something hidden in our inner being. We may stumble, but always there is that eternal voice forever whispering in our ear, that thing which causes the eternal quest, which forever sings and sings. And I like to say I found my inner sailor. I knew what I was doing, but I lost that. I forgot that I knew what I was doing. And through treatment, through visualization, through affirmations, through finding presence, doing presence, breathing, through all those things, I found that person inside of me that could deal with these things. Now you can call it my inner being, you can call it spirit, you can call it whatever you want, but it was there, and I believe it's there for all of us. We have this technology that we call spiritual mind treatment. And I urge everyone, if you haven't learned how to do it, it's not hard, pretty easy. Figure it out, learn it, use it, stop, drop, and treat. When something comes along, and it could be, I mean, we started out looking for, you know, finding parking places because we were learning how to do this. We were learning it, and there you go, you know, there's a parking place right in front of the place. And then we gradually moved in, this was when I was in class, we gradually moved into a greater and deeper experience of treatment. And it continues, I wanted to continue. I became a practitioner and actually became a minister at the same time. I wanted to know more about this thing. I wanted to really make it a part of myself so that I didn't have to go through that freak out period every time something came along. Like, why not skip that? Say the prayer, do the prayer, do the meditation, do all those easy things instead of sitting there going, you know, oh my God, what am I gonna do? You know, that doesn't do anything. It doesn't do a thing. So that's my commercial. It's the same commercial I've been saying for 23 years. Stop, drop, and treat. Learn how to do it. Like, we come here and Sunday is great. You hear greats, you hear Lori, and you hear Reverend Janice, and you hear Reverend Karen, and Gail, and everyone else. Anybody who speaks here, we hear these great things, and we walk out feeling great. But it's during the week when the thing really takes hold and we really have something that we can utilize and something that we can use. This is a real thing. I could tell stories about we call them demonstrations. When you treat for something and it shows up in your experience, we call that a demonstration. And I could talk about that for another hour. The demonstrations I've seen and I've experienced in my own life. And a lot of times you go, yeah, well, that's what happened. Yeah, it's a natural. They come about in a natural way. But they're here. So that's my story. That's my sailing story. I don't know if Gail, if it was it weird?
It was great. It was great. I think we were going to sing. We were going to sing.
But I was sitting there when Gail was talking and saying, and doing our meditation, I'm like, oh, God.
I treated that you were in sync.
We can always count on him.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know, it happens very often that we all are, you know, in the same place. So here's my tune, Into the Mystic, which is where, not my tune, it's Van Morrison's tune. But it's my favorite Van Morrison tune. And it's where I like to go, into the mystic. We were born before the wind, also younger than the sun. Ere the bonnie boat was won, we sailed into the mystic. Hark now, how a sailor hears cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. The foghorn blows, I will be coming home. When the foghorn blows, I wanna hear it, don't have to fear it. And I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like in the days of old. Magnificent we flow into the mystic. When the foghorn blows, you know I'll be coming home. When the foghorn blows, I gotta hear it, don't have to fear it. But I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. Together we will float into the mystic. Okay.
What a journey this morning, huh?
We're all over the place.
Yeah, what a journey. Well, obviously Reverend Rich is a great storyteller, and he gave feet to the meditation and took us on a journey, and what I know is that there are no coincidences. No coincidences. That we are on this journey together and we forget. We forget we're on this journey together. We're all in our own little boats, sailing along the best we can, navigating the waters, the tides, the rapids, and the winds, and yet here we are together as always, every Sunday. So I want to thank you for that. It was so moving for me because you actually not only are a good storyteller, but you actually showed your vulnerability and really how one moves through when they're going through something like that. And we all have that place within us, right? We just have to remember. We remember who we really are. So we go back to that. We go back to who we are. Divine beings living a human experience. So thank you for that, Reverend Rich. And double billing, thank you. And now is our time for our sacred giving. Feeling nourished, feeling fed emotionally and spiritually, maybe even mentally by what has happened so far this morning. It's our time to recognize that there is this divine law of circulation. It never stops. It's continuously bringing us to what we want, what we need, and it brings us to what we are ready for next. And so I know that there are many ways to give at our center. I want to thank all the volunteers who show up and give of their hearts and their energy and their skills. And I also want to pass this around because this is one way that you can actually give in the moment. Other ways you can give in the moment are, we have the Venmo and the PayPal right up there. You can just scan it with your phone. Some people love to give on a weekly basis or a monthly basis. Others love to give when they feel moved and they go to our website, cslmorristown.org. However you feel moved to give, we are so appreciative because we couldn't be here without you. You make us what we are, and we give back to you in a way that the flow of life, the flow of good, the flow of bounty is happening for all of us. So I invite you to join with me in our affirmation. Divine good,
Divine good,
and abundance, flow through me, flow through the spiritual center, and as I give of my good, I know the divine law of circulation brings me even greater good. And so it is. So thank you for that. And now we have our announcements. And we will be blessed at the end by Reverend Rich and his spiritual mind treatment, our closing treatment. So there's a lot going on. And in fact, something's happening today after service. Following social hour today, we'll be going for a walk at Sherman Hoffman Wildlife Sanctuary in Bernardsville. It's a 10-minute drive away. You can see either Eileen or Lynn, and they will get you on the road there. Okay? And we have a lot going on. We have our chaplaincy program. Lori Carlson is doing the weekly meditation there for the inmates, and they are in need, as they always are, of things that could support their good and their livingness. So Lynn has graciously offered and already brought things back, which will be given at the end of the month. But you can look at the flyer that's back there. There are all kinds of things that they need, mainly soap and shampoo.
Yeah, because that's a special need. Lori asked
Special-
them if there's anything in
Okay,
particular.
if there's anything else that you'd like to contribute, there's a list here, feel free. They really, really appreciate it. Now, not this Friday, but next Friday is my Healing Circle. That happens on the first Friday of every month. And I love this time to go sacred, to go deep. We have a circle here where we have music, prayer, meditation, sacred reading, and sacred conversation. And we have a vibrant welcoming team that is continuously open to new members. Being a part of the welcoming team, I'm on it now, more recently, and it's really a way to meet people as they come in and to really be the presence of our center for them and invite them into this space, which is always sacred and holy and nourishing in many ways. So you can see Eileen Gantz if you are interested in knowing more about that or participating. Okay, we have Science of Mind magazines. We have probably about 4, I think, back there. They're now $11.95 because they cover 2 months. And November and December are, I believe, back there. You can place money in the box. I believe there's one back there on the counter. And somewhere there are nickels for change, okay? Because it's $11.95. Okay, for those of us that are challenged in that way. Now we have an exciting thing happening in January. Chris Ferraro is going to be doing a workshop following the new year. It's called Release, Renew, and Radiate. Preparing your energy for 2026. It will be that first Sunday of the month. Why don't I see it here? Anyway, the first Sunday in January she's doing that. You can sign up on Venmo. I'm still getting used to that. Okay, and we ask you to sign up in advance so we know how many people are coming. We have our sound journey with Kat Roman. And if you have not been to one of Kat's sound journeys, you are in for such a spiritual, nourishing, and relaxing experience. Her next one is on Sunday, December 7th, right after service, after social hour. And we ask that you sign up. It's $30 in advance. We'd like to know how many people are being here. There is a limit on how many people we can accommodate, and usually it's really full. So do not miss that. And now we have something that Kathy has started, Woman to Woman Luncheon. And I know that she and Christy and Lynn and everyone associated with our social team has put together this Woman to Woman Luncheon, and it will be our 3rd time that we're meeting. We're meeting on Thursdays. That seems to work out best for people. And so it's Thursday, December 18th at noon here in our social hour area. There's a sign-up sheet, so please sign up and also indicate what you would like to bring, okay? That was so much fun. We had a game we were playing last time. It was just so much fun, so thank you for that. Okay, we also are donating to Nourish New Jersey, which is a food service, food pantry, providing emergency grocery support during this time of great need. There are a lot of items here that we are accepting. There's a box out there. Please feel free to look at the list and donate whatever you can. They are always very appreciative of that. And last but not least, we are in the midst of our gratitude and blessings swap. If you'll notice back on the counter back there, it will be through the end of this month. People are invited to bring something that you would like to offer and circulate to someone else, and take something that someone else has brought here. Okay? And I think that about does it. So Rich, Reverend Rich?
I'm gonna play a song after the treatment, so better get ready.
See? Double billing.
Double billing, yeah. So, so I want to congratulate these two young people for
Yeah.
being such a, to listen to my boring story. Just be there and dig it, so thank you. So, letting our consciousness move into that place where it meets the divine, letting the human meet the divine, and knowing that in that space all is possible, all is available to us, should we be able to move into that place of receiving. So I know for each one here that they are able to feel the presence of the one, feel the presence of spirit, and know that in that presence is all love, all life, all intelligence, all truth, the creative spirit, guiding spirit, and creative soul. It is all there. And that I know for each one here that they are able to know that they are part of it. They are one with it. There is no place where they end and it begins, and no place where it ends and they begin. It's all one. It's all one. Everything we see, everything we hear, everything we experience, it's all one. And it's all good, should we choose to experience it as good. So I know for each one here that they are able to take all of the ideas and concepts that were that were spoken of today, and all of the feeling of safety which we feel when we come into these rooms of the Centers for Spiritual Living, that they are able to take that feeling safely into their lives and to allow others to experience that feeling through the connection with them. So I give thanks to that which indwells us. I give thanks to the indwelling spirit. I give thanks because it has chosen to manifest as the Center for Spiritual Living Morristown and as us. So I invite you to join me in releasing all of these ideas, all of this treatment, all of this stuff into law, knowing it has already returned and is here now for us. So I invite you to say, and so it is. I say, guide my feet while I run this race. Guide my feet while I run this race. I said, guide my feet while I run this race, 'cause I don't want to run this race in vain. I said, I'm a child